The mind does not think for itself. All behavior, listen very carefully, this is very important. All behavior, positive or negative, good or bad, is learned behavior.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Screaming Chuy Show. And I'd like to welcome special guest, very interesting guest as well, Hollywood Hypnotist Kevin Stone. Welcome to the show, bro.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, man.
And you're much more than just a Hollywood hypnotist. You're also you're a master hypnotist. You've done a lot of stuff, a lot.
I have. Yeah, I'm a master hypnotist, board certified hypnotherapist. So yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm very passionate about it, obviously. I've been doing it for over 30 years, and I have both sides. I do the entertainment side. That's why I'm known as the Hollywood Hypnotist, which we'll get into later. I didn't actually name myself that. That was named by and for me, which we picked it up. We went, okay, cool. And we ran with it. So here we are, 30 years later. But yeah, there's the entertainment side, and then there's the medical side, where again, I have a private practice where I help people to change their lives through hypnosis and hypnotherapy. And so basically, whatever people want to change, they can do that through the applications of hypnosis. Most people think, I'm going to go see a hypnotist for smoking or weight, because that's what we're kind of known for. And I started that way. I sure did. But I became really well known all over the globe for my work for not just smoking and weight. Like I said, the applications of where I have taken this and my technique is you can change anything you want in hypnosis. That's the power of it.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's whatever you think about. And so most people, they have a limited scope. Oh, weight and smoking or, stress or anxiety. Yeah, all of those are great with hypnosis, right? But those are the basics. And so I've taken it to a whole different stratosphere where I've become known for pain management. I'm on staff at White's Memorial, and different hospitals here in the Los Angeles area. So my work in the medical side is, again, very, very well known, as well as the entertainment. It's global. It's kind of a very humbling experience for me, because I've always been focused on the passion of a natural organic state called hypnosis. So I thought, I want to do the best that I can, and then I became that guy. And so even when I found out, I think about maybe 6 months ago, I really didn't even know about this. But if you Google or put in any of your web browsers and you search the best hypnotist in the world, well, guess who comes up? So that's kind of cool. Is it humbling?
It's just legit, bro.
Did you do that?
Yep.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So, I didn't even really know about it. My clients were telling me that, I found you through this, that, and the other thing. And plus, I see a lot of people all over the globe. I do a lot of phone sessions, which they now call it telemedicine. But I've been doing telemedicine for years, because people have been seeking me out all over the globe because they can't afford to come out to LA. So they had to find different ways to be able to facilitate hypnosis to be able to help people to help themselves. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey, and there's more to come. I know. It's very exciting with the work that I do, but that stigma is there too, and I tell people, I say, look, if that were the case, first of all, I wouldn't be having this interview. Not because I don't like it, Chuy. I wouldn't need to. I would just go to the bank every day, hypnotize the tellers, put money in my car, go home, and I'm set for the day. And so, or whatever I want from people. I just meet you and I hypnotize you, right? So that's just, it doesn't work that way. And so I know the movies and TV, and even myself, I sensationalize it a little bit in the entertainment shows, the comedy hypnosis shows, because it's fun. And it really gives people an understanding of how it really works. And the cool part is, it's really no hypnotist in the world has that kind of power. It's not like the cartoons. It's not like the movies. It's really all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. That's basically what it is. And so the hypnotist is the guide, and they guide you into this state of higher awareness and a relaxation. That is when the mind becomes the most receptive and the most powerful, when you're in that state. And that's a natural organic state. And we go in and out of that state about 1,000 times a day. It's a natural state, it really is. Common forms of hypnosis, driving up on the highway, the freeway. You realize you missed your exit somewhere. It was 3 exits back somewhere, right? Reading a good book, watching a good movie, listening or watching this podcast, and you're not aware of anything else, but you're really focused in on what's happening here. That's hypnosis in its purest form.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. No idea.
Yeah. So technically, Chuy, you have this podcast. You're actually a hypnotist and you don't even realize it. You're a natural hypnotist because your followers, your watchers, your listeners are tuning in to not only listen and engage with Chuy, but the guests you bring on and the way you set up your program, it's all hypnotizable, and it's hypnotizing people to keep coming back for more and more and more.
Wow,
you see what I mean?
Crazy. I never looked
I know. And so that's why a lot of advertisers, a lot of big companies, a lot of politicians utilize that natural organic power called suggestibility to influence their audiences.
Wow.
Yeah.
Going way deep. I had no idea about this. But it makes sense. It makes sense, though.
Yeah. And that's basically how it works, because, again, it's a natural organic state. And so once you understand the concept of it, how it works, then you're able to utilize it not only in your personal life to enhance your life and to achieve your maximum potential in life, remove blocks or negatives, but again, you can use it for just about anything you want and to change your life or your business in the world. That's how powerful it is.
Wow.
And we're all doing it. Every single one of us is doing that. So it's really just an understanding. And again, I'm going to use the old cliche, knowledge is power, right? Education is power. And so the more you know, the more you can make a change, not only in your life, but for others as well. And that's what I do.
Wow, that's very powerful. And you're literally changing lives, literally.
Yeah. And so that's why when people come to me and they have all kinds of issues that, again, people don't think about, or these are blocks that are not allowing people to move forward in life, to live their full potential of what they're doing in life and what they want to do, but they get stuck and they don't know how to fix that because we're not really taught those tools in our school systems or our church systems. We don't understand how to get rid of the block. So hypnosis is that tool to remove the block because everything is stored in your subconscious mind. So got to think about now, can you visualize, Chuy?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine?
Yep.
Can you think?
Yep.
Okay, crazy questions, I know, but I'm not here to judge, right? But some people can't do all three. But what I'm determining right now is how you communicate and how you receive communication. That allows me to understand how you communicate so I can use the words to make you suggestible to change the negatives in your life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how powerful it is. So since you can do all three, draw a big circle in your mind. And all the watchers and listeners, draw that big circle in your mind right now. That circle is going to represent your brain. Okay? Now draw a line horizontally through the circle. Now we have three parts of the circle of the brain, your brain. So we have the top part, which is your conscious mind, which everyone's using right now to listen to the sound of my voice and to understand how we're communicating. That's the conscious mind. That's 12% of your brain's capacity. The line is called the critical factor. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Below the line is the subconscious mind. That's 88% of your brain's capacity. So now you can see where all of the information is being stored in your brain. It's that subconscious mind. So here's the thing. The mind does not think for itself. All behavior, listen very carefully, this is very important. All behavior, positive or negative, good or bad, is learned behavior. The mind doesn't know how to distinguish positive or negative, good or bad. It just becomes programmed into that subconscious mind because that's the filing cabinet. 88%, right? So how does the information get in there? It gets in through, invite them in. Who's that? Your family? Bring them in.
Yeah.
Listen. Tell them to listen. They want to hear this. This is very important information. So how does the information get in? It gets in through when you go to sleep at night. This is how hypnosis works as well. When you go to sleep at night, you go into what's called a REM state. Once you get into the REM state, that line we drew earlier opens up. It's the critical factor of your mind. It opens up and becomes the doorway to the most powerful part of the mind, the subconscious mind, the 88%. I'm not interested in the 12%. And technically, we're not even using 12%. We're only using about 3% of our brain's capacity. But that's a whole other story for another day. I don't want to bore anybody. But just keep it simple. So what happens during your sleep state, you go into the REM, the information that you've processed from the entire day flows down into the subconscious mind. Then it becomes a known. How does it become a known? 21 times in a row. Now the mind is automatically programmed. It automatically does the positive or the negative. It just does it. So that's what scientists came up with. It's a number called 21. Once you establish it 21, it's now an automatic in the brain. So that's how the good and the bad, the positive, negative remain inside that subconscious mind and control your mind-body system. So it's like a computer, or everyone uses a cell phone every day. The cell phone, same thing. You're telling that cell phone or that computer what to do every single day. When it gets full, what do you have to do? Go to the little trash can, empty out the memory so you can refill it back up again. That's basically the principle of hypnosis as well. We get you into that REM state, that relaxed, powerful, higher awareness state. Once you're in that state, I'm able, with your permission, obviously, to reprogram your hard drive, your computer, your brain to do the things that you want it to do instead of what it's learned to do on a negative level. So that's the simplicity of it.
Wow, so it's basically like knowledge of neurology as well, right? Because what you're kind of doing is you're creating new connections in the synapses, right? And
right.
Then disconnect the bad ones, the bad habits, or whatever they want to get rid of, basically.
Yeah, that's basically the simplicity of it and how it works. And so we're programmed with all these things by what we learn. Because again, remember, all behaviors learn behavior, right? So the mind learns it, but it doesn't know. It doesn't distinguish. Just like your phone and computer, it doesn't know what's a corrupt file, what's not a corrupt file. It just accepts the programming of what is happening. So that's why when people get to the blocks, they're stuck because they don't know how to change that, because we're really not taught those tools in our systems to change those things. So that's where you go seek out the professionals or the hypnotist or psychologist or somebody like that to really start to deprogram these things so they're not affecting your life in a negative way.
Wow. And I found it so deep that you said the computer just accepts the program because it doesn't know. And so many people live their lives like that. That's
right. Oh, yeah. They're on automatic programming. Or they're not very motivated. They learned how to be that way, and that's just what they do. And they get to a point in life where they really start to realize, I need to make these changes in my life. And then some start to block it with, oh, it's too late in life. I'm 50 years old, and I can't do nonsense. All nonsense, all negative programming, all information that's constantly out there that, again, we accept because everyone basically wants to take the path of least resistance. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to earn it. Nobody wants to work for it. Everyone has that 7-Eleven mentality. They want it. They want it now.
Yep.
And so everything takes work to get where you are in life. And so I always encourage people to find something that you're passionate about and do it. I never started doing this for the money. I never thought about the concepts of how we're taught when we're younger of, be wealthy, and even today it's still impounded in us on, be wealthy, earn, be a influencer. All this nonsense. It's all ego based. Mm-hmm. And so again, if you do what you love, the rest will come. You see? And so that's what I've been doing. I don't focus on the things that I was taught and consistently taught every day about, oh, this is the way you should be. This is how you need to be recognized and to, boost your confidence. And it's all nonsense. All nonsense. Do what you love, and the rest will come. Just like what you're doing, Chuy. You're doing a podcast. It's something you thought about. I'm sure you studied other podcasters, other influencers, and you finally took the leap of faith. And you're doing it, and as long as you're passionate about it, the rest will come.
Yep, that's facts. That's 100% right there.
Absolutely.
And I love that you're doing this out of passion. I think anybody should do that, like no matter what they do, because you're really doing this because you want to help people, and you're even doing it for pain management. I've never heard of hypnosis for pain management. This is really crazy. This is badass though.
Yeah, and that was my whole goal from the beginning, is to help people to help themselves, right? Because when I started to get into this, I was transitioning. I was in between jobs, and so always when I'm in between jobs, I always go back to school. I have a knack for this curiosity of academia and just learning. Right? Because life is a journey, and everything, you can learn about if you really want to. I'm looking out my window now, and I'm looking at, just to reflect for a second. I'm looking at my window now and looking at some beautiful, because spring is coming, and here in California, everything is starting to bloom. Everything's starting to look wonderful. And I'm looking at these bushes, and I'm looking at these yellow blooms that are coming out. And again, to me, that's curious. It's not just a bush with blooming flowers. Why is that bush blooming? Why is that bush blooming yellow and not red? So these are the things that I think about. So when I started to get into this, I went back to school, and I found a school in Tarzana, California. It's the only accredited college in the world for hypnosis. Ooh. Now, I didn't take it seriously. I wasn't that guy. I just was in between jobs, and I thought, well, I'm going to get some college credit. I'm going to go check this stuff out, see what it's really all about. Now, I'm originally from New England, so my mentality, my way was like a lot of people, and probably a lot of people watching and listening to this program, very skeptical, very cynical. And I thought, this stuff is, again, what you see on TV and the movies and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I'm going to get some college credit for it. I'm going to go check it out. So I did, and didn't really take it seriously. I was just in for the college credit. And what really, my turning point was we went on a field trip over at the most famous hospital in the world, Cedars-Sinai, and we watched an entire C-section being performed under hypnosis.
What?
Yeah.
Shit, that's crazy.
Yeah. No drugs, no epidural, nothing. She was a famous opera singer, and she had already been prepped about what was happening with 6 sessions. So she was instructed that anytime she felt any discomfort or pain, all she had to do was let out a note or raise her right finger, and the nurses would come in, give her the epidural, give her what she needed during the process. Well, that never happened. The doctor came in, now we're behind a two-way mirror, like in a police station, that kind of thing. So they knew, and everyone knew what was going on. There was no, shady stuff. It was just all for educational purposes. So there's about 70 of us, and we're sitting behind this two-way mirror, and the doctor comes in. He basically puts her into hypnosis, and me and another guy, we're kind of like the class clowns. Again, I wasn't taking it serious, right? We're in the back, and we're kind of goofing around, right? We're talking. When I take it seriously, I'm like, come on, hurry up. What's going on here? Let's go, hurry, whatever. So he comes in, puts her into hypnosis, and we're like, yeah, this is never going to happen. Just kind of like the same thoughts you had about 30 seconds ago. Like, whoa, wait a minute. No epidural? And a lot of the listeners and watchers have probably thought the same thing. Well, I was thinking the same thing too. There's a cynicism, there's a skepticism, whatever. They're going to give her something immediately if this starts to happen, right? So nothing, she doesn't do anything. And then we're waiting, and now it's time. Now the baby is ready. So they're doing the C-section. So you can imagine me and the other guy, class clown, we're in the back, jaws drop down to the floor, going, whoa. So from that point, that was a turning point for me, because I thought, whoa, there is something to this. It isn't like you see in TV and the movies. This is pretty powerful stuff. Mm-hmm. And of course, like anyone else, I'm human and I have issues. So I'd like to change those. And how do I do that? So throughout the course, we would practice on Saturdays, hypnosis on each other and all this kind of thing. And it started to change my life. And the first thing that I changed was I was a nail biter. Now, I was a man, I was in my 30s biting my nails. I was very adolescent. I was like, I got to get rid of that. That's horrible. So that was one of the first things that I ever did, was nail biting. And then, of course, I started taking this very, very seriously, because I started to see the changes not only in myself, but I started seeing the changes in others who were in the class. And of course, when I opened up my private practice, I just started seeing all of these massive changes happening with people with this thing called hypnosis. And it's done with words. It's not, I don't get, like, I didn't bring my watches today. I don't have a watch.
Oh, yeah, they do that.
Like you see here in the back. Now, those posters, those are antiques. Those are original posters from those movies. And of course, I'm very passionate, so I cover all aspects of hypnosis, and I find things daily, like from the 1800s, where hypnotism was being used, or how hypnotism being used to hypnotize animals, all kinds of different things. But anyway, back to the turning point. That's how it worked for me. And I really thought there's something to this. It's very, very powerful. So I need to understand it more. And of course, here we are 30 something years later, continuing to do that. So.
Wow. Changing lives, man. Changing lives.
That's it, brother. That's it. Yeah. And
you came across it accidentally, or like, it just fucking, you didn't want to take it serious. You're like, I'll just do this, for the credits. And now, bam.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking I was going to be a hypnotist. I didn't really get it, like, who's a hypnotist? Like how many hypnotists do you know? You know what I mean? It's not like it was a career goal and it's like, oh my goodness, that's what I want to be. I wasn't thinking those things when I was a younger man, thinking that's my life goal. And so, God has a way of positioning us on this planet to do things in his glory. And so when I really started to take it seriously, you just knew that feeling of, where your place is now. And of course, is what you do with it. You know what I mean? What you do with it is how the change takes effect and how it affects other people. And so that's what I tell everyone. Find your purpose, find your passion, find what you want, and stop chasing money, stop chasing notoriety, stop chasing all this stuff that, again, is impounded every single day into everyone's mind, especially with it's so interesting to me because I've been on YouTube, TikTok, all of these things for years. And I never really acquired what some of these YouTubers are doing and actually make a living out of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, wow. But you watch them come and go quickly as well, because the cream rises to the top. And you already know, just like in any industry, who's doing it for the money, who's doing it for the notoriety or the fame, whatever that nonsense is, because they have a rise and they have a fall, and then they're gone. And you never know about them anymore.
Very true.
So it's sustaining. It's sustaining where you are in life and just keep plugging along. Now, of course, there's good and bad days. Everything has a struggle. Everything has a challenge. That's part of the journey.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so don't give up. Just keep moving forward. But again, it all comes from that passion and how you feel about what it is that you're doing for not only the community or helping people on a global level, but really what is it that you're doing for you too? You see what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah. So,
man, very wise words, man. You're a very interesting guy, very smart too. I love that. And you're very passionate about what you do. And keep doing what you're doing, man. You're changing lives. I love it, man. And if any would like to get a hold of you, book a session, or just get a hold of you, get in contact, and where can people find you? And
it's easy to find me. Couple of ways. I have hypnotist.com, and if you can't remember that, because that's like McDonald's.com, right?
right, for real.
You look for hypnotist. It's hypnotist.com. But you'd be surprised, because I've owned that now since the beginning of the internet. So I keep talking about how old I am, but I'm not going to tell you how old I am. but I've owned that for a long time. And so hypnotist.com is my site to get a hold of me. All the information is there. Matter of fact, it's not just a site. It's an educational site. It's designed to be informative. So if you go there and you want to learn more about hypnosis and you want to learn more about how this works, there's all kinds of links and all kinds of information on there, so you can really have an understanding. I set it up that way because I want to give people an opportunity to really understand it. And then, of course, if you want to contact me for sessions, shows, lectures, seminars, whatever it is you want to do, the information's there too. And there's a lot of great videos on there and all kinds of interesting information about hypnosis. So that's hypnotist.com. And if you forget that, which again, some people do, and that's okay. It's just mind-boggling to me. But if you forget that, like we talked about earlier, if you just you can Google my name. You can Google the best hypnotist in the world. I'm the guy that's going to come up.
Yep.
And it's well-earned. It's I've been doing this a long time. And, that's how you get a hold of me. It's pretty simple. It's not complicated, and again, you can change anything you want. Plus, if you go to the website, I make it easy as well. There's a power programming series on there that if you want to download this series of, let's say, losing weight or stopping smoking or stress management or anxiety, there's all kinds of different programming on there that you can download to hypnotize yourself in the comfort of your own home. It's my voice.
Wow.
And it takes you step by step into what you need to do to achieve the goal. So it's the same thing as if you were to come and see me in the office. Or again, I do a lot of my sessions now, like I said, we talked about earlier, telemedicine. So we either do it through, like we're doing now, through Zoom, or we do it through basically the phone. I don't even need to see you. You don't need to see me. I can do everything through the phone and basically do a session that way.
Wow, that's amazing, man. I love that you have all that free knowledge on your website, the free programming. It's free, man, and it's going to change your life. I love that.
Exactly. And why not? Take advantage of it. It's there. And that's why I made it that way. Because again, it just helps people to really understand a little bit more, take away that stigma. Look, the stigma is always going to be there. They're still creating movies. I'm still getting contacted to consult on these movies, on how we're going to take this movie and we're going to hypnotize you and do all these things and blah, blah, blah. It still exists. It is what it is, right? So you have to understand sometimes the negatives in life, you can turn those around and make them positives and make them work for what needs to be done. Because again, there's always going to be there. You can't go, oh, I'm going to change it. It's not going to exist anymore. Not the case. You've got to understand in life, there's a positive and a negative always. And so you have to bring those two together constantly as a marriage, and to understand how to work with that. And so you can't get repelled by all this, because it doesn't matter. The moment I could be in a grocery store, and either sometimes I'm recognized or somebody, I'll be talking about hypnosis or something. And they go, "Oh, you're a hypnotist? Oh, don't look at me. Don't look at me." All this, it's never going to change, Chuy. This is just how this stuff works. It's not done with these eyes. If it isn't done, I'm not swinging pocket watches. Like all this stuff you see in these posters, all this sensational. It's all sensationalism. And so can it be done with that? Sure, it can be done with that. But I'm not hypnotizing with my eyes. I'm hypnotizing with all of these tools that a hypnotist can use for a focal point. Hypnosis is done with words. That's why I told you earlier. You're running a podcast. Guess what? You're a hypnotist, because you're using words to communicate with your audience.
That's wild.
That's going to make you think even more. I know. Because the more you think about it, the more you're going to start thinking, how can I change that so people can get more from what I'm doing with my time and my passion and my energy while doing this podcast, to get them to be educated and to uplift them, to allow them to change their lives through what you're doing. You see,
I love
we're all doing the same things, but if you're doing them for the right reasons, like we've been talking about, the rest will come.
I love that. Deep words, man, and that's very true. I love that.
Indeed.
Well, Kevin, you're amazing, and keep doing what you're doing, man. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely, man. Guys like you and anyone else, it doesn't matter. Some people go, because I get those questions too, Chuy, and they go, you just came off of a national television show. You just came, you were just on any one of the daytime talk shows. And then you went on this podcast with like 10 subscribers. What are you doing? Look, it's not about, again, I'm not about 10,000 or 500,000 watchers on a daytime syndicated program versus the word. If you want to take the time, and I want to take the time to spread the information, to give good news about how do you change your life, I'm absolutely going to take the time to do that, to inform the viewer, the listener, how they can plug in and change their lives. Because these tools, again, it's nothing that I've invented. I've invented a certain way, and my technique utilizing hypnosis is different than a lot of other hypnotists or hypnotherapists. That's why I became who I am. But it's really about learning the tools. And it's a natural organic state and a natural organic tool that you're doing all day anyway. You're doing it all day anyway. We're all going in and out of hypnosis all day. So why not harness that power, use that power in your life and change your life? That's the simplicity of it.
Yep, that's true. And like you said, we do it every day. Like you're driving home, and then you're home. You're like, wait, I don't remember even driving. Like you just got it.
Exactly. Or remember when you were in school as a kid and you're sitting in math class and you're just looking out the window and you're bored and you're just daydreaming. That's hypnosis. That's what it is.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the state. So if you know you're going in, so again, some people go in that out of that more than 1,000 times a day. You know what I mean? It really depends. So you have to be careful. That's why, when people come see me, sometimes I have to de-hypnotize them to re-hypnotize them the way my technique is, because they're already suggestible to what's happening in their environment.
Wow.
So I have to remove that to replace it with what we're going to do now, which is the positive or we're focused in on whatever issue it is that you want to change. So you're not influenced any longer by any outside sources.
Basically, you got to reprogram them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Just like any behavior, when somebody has an addiction or something like that, what do? They go see an addiction specialist, or they check themselves into a facility, right? What do? They remove themselves from any influences that are around them, and they're centralized now where they are only about that particular issue. And by the time they do their 2 weeks or a week or whatever, how much time they spend in that facility, they come out, and guess what? They're healed, right?
True.
It's because they want to. But again, you have to want to do it. Again, just like with hypnosis, I don't have a power, I don't have any magic where I'm going to hypnotize you to do something that you don't want to do. Right. Again, this is what people think.
Cover my eyes.
Cover your eyes, yeah. So let's do something real. Want to do something real quick?
Yeah.
All right. So if you're watching and if you're listening, you can do this as well. But however, if you're driving or you're working any heavy machinery, do not do this.
Warning, right?
Exactly. I am not responsible, nor is Chuy, for anything that you do on your own will, on your own choice. I've already put that warning out there. All right, so Chuy, take your hands, put them up like this. Now take your fingers and bring them down, fold them all in. So if you're watching or you're listening, right now we're like almost in a praying mode, but your hands are interlaced. Now take your 2 pointing fingers, put them straight up, put them about 1 inch apart. Now take your fingers so you push them away from your body a little bit. There you go. Now look directly down the center of your 2 fingers. Don't look at me. Just listen to my voice. You'll find that starting right now, those 2 fingers will start to move in closer and closer together. So if there's 2 magnets pulling and tugging and pulling, closer now. The more you stare at those fingers, the more the fingers will move in, closer. They will touch. When they do touch, you're going to reach the height of your suggestibility, pulling and tugging and pulling, closer, touching. The more you resist, the more they're going to come in, closer, touching. Excellent. You can relax your hands and fingers now. What'd you think about that, Chuy?
Oh, that's crazy. They were pulling in, bro, like magnets, just like you said.
Right. Wow. Now, Chuy, you're a little bit of an analytical, I can see. So you're a thinker. You think a lot. Sometimes you think yourself out of situations you should leave yourself in. That's another story for another day. It's interesting because I can always tell behaviorally what's going on here. Now, I'm glad that you just didn't go along with it. You just didn't play along. You actually wanted to feel and allow that to happen. So good for you. And I hope everyone else is doing the same thing too. Because listen, I've been doing this a long time. I'm not here to, get my ego stroked or oh, wow, good job. It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter. I know what this stuff does. I know what it does to the millions of people that I've hypnotized. And so I'm not here to prove anything. I'm just trying to show people how suggestibility works and how subconscious mind works and how when I'm giving direct suggestion, just like this simple experiment, and then your fingers start to move and then they touch, that's hypnosis in its purest form. Because you could have stayed there the entire time and did nothing and said, I'm not doing this. I'm letting all of these fingers move. They're not going to come in. They're not going to touch. I'm going to make this hypnotist look like an idiot. Some people want to do that. Go ahead. Okay? Now, listen. If your fingers didn't come in and touch, that's okay too. Right? This isn't like, if you didn't do it, I'm good, or I'm bad. No. This is basically, again, how one thinks. And Chewy, you're like one of the perfect examples here because some people are immediate. Some people, they'll probably email me or email you or email the show and go, wow, my fingers came in just like that. Why did they do that? Because they're more suggestible to what's happening.
Wow.
And they're the type of people, they don't think about anything. They're like, oh, that's fun. And then they go do it. And then they think about it later. Right? And that's okay. There's others like yourself who think a little bit more, just like me. I'm an analytical, where they're like trying to figure out why is this happening?
Yeah,
my fingers are moving.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And so again, with more time, your fingers eventually would have came in if they didn't come in. But I guarantee you, 98% of the people watching this or listening to this, those fingers did come in and they did touch.
That's crazy, man. You're a smart man. That's crazy. Wow, you blew me away, man. That's great. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just suggestibility. That's what's called environmental hypnosis. That's the simplicity of what I've been telling you this whole time. It's all around us. It's all around us all the time. It influences us. It influences the clothing that you wear, the jewelry that you wear. Whatever you're doing in life, just stop and reflect for a second on why you're doing the things that you've done to this point in your life, because you've been influenced in some way.
Wow.
And so why not start to control that influence about what's happening in your life and get rid of the negatives or block the negatives and only receive positives in your life to continue to live your life to your maximum potential.
Wow.
Yeah.
You blew me away. You know, that's why you are called the best hypnotist, bro. That's why and you're so humble, man. I swear to God.
Thanks, Chewy. I really appreciate that. But again, I'm also God-centered too. You know, the higher power is the work, is God, not the work that I do. I do my work through God, and so I know my purpose. I know why I'm here, and I'm going to continue to do that because it's not for my glory. It really has nothing to do with me. It has to do with everything we've talked about, and God is always first, and it's really for God. So everything else is secondary. And again, I'm not here to convince people. I'm not here to tell you. You have to make up your own. This is what we all have: free will. We all have free choice. This is what we're given. And so you have to make those decisions for yourself. I know what it's done for me. I know what it's done for the millions of people that I've worked with. And it's on the individual to make that determination and to explore that for themselves. And I try to make it as easy as possible. Again, this is why I do these type of programs, to really get the information out there. And then, of course, the website, go to it. There's great stuff on there. Check it out for yourself. Again, if you still don't understand what's available to you, this natural, organic state of mind, and you can harness that power in your own life, then you're missing out. And that's on you.
I love that, man. I love how you're like, hey, look, it works. If you don't believe me, look it up. Information's on the site. You know what I mean? I love it. You know, straight up, very straightforward.
Yeah.
Very knowledgeable.
Yeah. I'm the steward. God has given me the opportunity to be the steward of this information and to get the information out there so people can understand you can change your life, not only through prayer and through God. That's the hierarchy of everything, but through this natural organic state called hypnosis to allow you to change your thinking, change your life. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in that little voice inside of our heads that is negative. And listen, we wake up in the morning. Some people wake up in the morning, they look in the mirror, they start with the negative right away. They don't even think about it because it's automatic. They look in the mirror and they go, oh, I'm having a bad hair day. Oh, I'm not feeling good. These are all negatives. So guess how your body and your mind is going to react?
Yep.
Negatively.
On the negative. Yep.
You want to program it that way? There you go. And a lot of people don't even really realize that they're doing that. They don't even understand that what they're doing. And again, it's conditioning. It's how their environment was when they grew up, or how their culture was. you really have to start looking at where these components are coming from and why you're doing the things that you're doing in your life. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, everybody go to hypnotist.com, or you could Google Kevin Stone or the best hypnotist in the world.
Right on.
You'll find him. And I highly suggest look up his website and try those programs as well. They're free.
Yeah.
Look up all the information there. I mean, it's free information. Why say no? Like, you know what I mean? You can't lose, And I love that you're doing that, by the way.
Appreciate it, Chuy. And this is how you spell it right here, because a lot of people think there's an I in the hip, HIP. So a lot of people, even I misspell it. I go to my own site sometimes, and I don't even tell you what sometimes happens. But even I kind of sometimes put it in and I misspell it, and I know how to spell it. But a lot of people don't know how to spell hypnotist because it's not a common word. It's not something people use every day. Like I said earlier, how many hypnotists do you know, right? And most people will tell you, I don't even know one exists.
That's fact. And
unless they're familiar with it.
I'll have all your links on the episode description as well, so they click on it. Don't have to Google it. It's all going to be there. And I appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate the time, Chuy, and really appreciate this. We'll do it again.
Yeah, definitely. Would love to have you back.
There's going to be more questions. There's going to be more, and we'll do more things. I'll show you more things of how the mind works. And again, we try to keep it a lot lively and upbeat. I don't want to get too boring about what this is because there's a lot of technical stuff about how it works and all of that, scientific terminology and stuff that, again, I don't want to hear that stuff. You know what I mean? I had to learn it. So
I love that, man. I love that. I'm so down.
Right on, brother.
All right, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, bro. You have a good one.
You too. Thanks a lot.